welcome to Benchwarmers, guys, and this week we've got quite a lot to get through. We're going to be going down to the Lancashire Wolverines, catch them play for the first time this season against the Sheffield Predators. Now, I've got to ask at this point, Sheffield Predators, when we first caught up with them about 2 or 3 years ago at the Brit Bowl, they were second division, weren't they?
Yep.
What was it that made them move up to the Premier League? How come they made such a leap?
I think it was at the time. There was a transition where the league was being restructured and that, and I think their programme at that point was quite strong, so the powers that be predicted that they should actually be put into that division. They've had quite a good programme for the last few years, and it has progressed. Obviously they're in the Prem now. They were there last year as well, but this year they found it a bit of a struggle.
But looking at the Lancashire Wolverines, what do you expect from a team like that? Because this is a team that's got a great youth setup. We've seen them in the past, and they've got some big guys. They've gone up and had competitive games with the likes of London Blitz at the Brit Bowl. What do you expect from a team like that?
You've sort of said it straight to there. It's the setup that Lancashire are carrying there. That it's regimented right the way throughout. I mean, this year they've challenged teams that you wouldn't expect, and that whole division's kind of not. You couldn't say there was a dead set in there, because on any given Sunday, Lancashire like to really mess up the playbook a bit, so the other teams really can't settle down or get a grip on what they're up to.
I'd put it down to their academy, really, because it's a natural progression of development, right from the flag to the juniors and the youth kids and all that, and it comes through.
After last week's great result against Tamworth, how did you come into this game today?
Pretty much the same as we went into the Tamworth game. We didn't see this as a game that we were under a great deal of pressure, because we were fairly much the underdogs, as we have been most of the year. We had a couple of extra guys that we didn't have last week, and we lost some that we did have. But no, at the end of the day, it didn't make any difference. We're a fairly quite tight team. So there was no real difference coming into this game as the other one. We plugged away. The second half, them conditions were shocking, but they were shocking for both teams, and you have to exploit them. And I certainly think we were flat coming out defensively very early on. Lancashire weren't. They were pretty good. They took us to the outside more than we could handle. And at the point of the attack, we weren't getting enough pressure, and we lost leverage a couple of times, even further out by the DBs and stuff. So it was just a breakdown on a couple of spots that led to the score. I think it was off the back of a very, very long drive as well. But you know, at the end of the day, fair play to Lancashire. They were the ones who drove the ball down, and we were unable to do it. And when we did finally get round to doing it, we fumbled the ball on the one.
Yeah, fantastic result. We not great conditions at times, but we did well, and got a nice result.
Did the conditions at all change your play?
Yeah, I think once wind in the rain picked up, we had to go a bit more run heavy, but our line did a great job leading the way, and the backs did well. So yeah, special teams came up big for us. Really did a really good job, and got a nice start and took a little bit of pressure off.
And where does this result put Lancashire in terms of the full season, looking towards the business end?
Well, the way we look at it, we've got 3 games left, and if we win all 3, we win the division. We're going to try and do everything we can to win those 3 games.
So looking at closely at that running, who is your next opponents?
We've got East Kilbride Pirates in 2 weeks' time. They're a really good team. Probably, just the results don't say it, but I think they're one of the best teams in the division. Over the years have shown that. We'll prepare a lot for it, we'll have to do a lot of work, but we've proved in the first game of the season we can beat them, and we intend to do the same again. And
do you think that game is pivotal in where Lancashire finish?
I think every game counts. We can't afford to treat one more importantly than the other.
Our local fans watching on Bay TV, they're going to want to know, how does a team like Lancashire stack up against the Merseyside Nighthawks? A few years ago they were in the same division, and those games, despite coming out in Lancashire's favour, some of them were pretty close.
Well, yeah, but again, that comes down to coaching, and we've said it about the Nighthawks. I mean, their setup is starting to develop, and they've improved year on year. Their coaching has been really, really good.
It's the evolution.
But it just depends on what every team takes out of each year.
Yeah, the evolution of the Nighthawks, the evolution of the sport, and the evolution of the style of playing, coaching has changed, and it seems like the Nighthawks have sort of gone with it and picked it up.
So are you saying that we're going to see a return to a Merseyside Nighthawks versus Lancashire Wolverines rivalry soon? Are we going to give people what they want to see?
To be honest,
I think so.
Yeah, there's a chance. I mean, Lancashire know what needs to be done. They're quite capable of doing it as well, and they have the established setup to do that. Merseyside at the moment are just flying so high. Maybe it could be someone like Lancashire to upset the story.
There's an easy way to answer this one, isn't there? Lancashire are already there, and the Nighthawks are knocking on the door now. They've only got themselves to stop getting in the Premier now.
Hi, welcome to week 2 of Stewie's News, and I'm going to start off with our game from last week. We spoke about the Premier North game that involved the Lancashire Wolverines and the Sheffield Predators. Now, as predicted, that came out victorious for the Wolverines, 23-7, so congratulations to them for that great win. Also, let's look at the Edinburgh Wolves, the team obviously who I support, as they went out resounding victors over local rivals, the Blackhawks, 40 points to 0, so well done to Don and all the guys up there. Chester Owens again lost dramatically to the Gateshead Senators, 44-0. They lost at home at the weekend. And looking at the NFC 2, the Hatton Spartans lost to Staffordshire Surge, 34 points to 20. Just a quick brief mention to all the teams who have currently made the playoffs. London Warriors, the London Blitz, the Edinburgh Wolves, the Farnham Knights, Sussex Thunder, West Coast Trojans, Newcastle Vikings, the Sandwell Steelers, the Kent Exiles and Bury Saints. So congratulations to all the teams there who have made the playoffs so far this season. I said to you, bringing some news from NFL each week, and the big news coming from New York is the New York Giants pass rusher Jason Pierre-Paul having injured his hand over the Independence Day weekend funnily enough, from a firework. Now, they don't believe the injury is career threatening. However, as I'm sure you've read on the NFL website, the New York Giants have pulled the plug on the $60 million contract extension. Now, they didn't believe Jason Pierre-Paul was going to accept that. However, it looks like he'll play the remainder of this season on his $14.8 million franchise tag. But we'll wait and see what happens. They don't believe it's career threatening, so hopefully he will make a full recovery for all you Giants fans. Now, looking on to my review of each division, I'm going to start off with my division. The division I love the most is the NFC North. My team, the Chicago Bears, had a disappointing season last season, and John Fox has came in this year, completely changed the whole structure of the coaching staff and brought in some great players. You know, they managed to recruit Kevin White from West Virginia, and Eddie Goldman and Horonis Grasu. They've, apart from the wide receiver in the first round, they've managed to recruit on defence, which is the weakest point last season, so hopefully they'll move into that. They finished last season disappointing, 5-11, so I think this year I'm going to predict they're going to go to the playoffs. Whether it's a wild card, I think they're going to go better than that though. I believe they're going to go 12-4 this season. I think the Bears have got something in their locker. Matt Forte's back, you know, they've got Alshon Jeffrey as well. Huge players there, and this is a big year for Jay Cutler as well. He really needs to show what he's worth. If not, I think the Bears will looking to trade him next year and basically bring in someone who they can actually rely on going forward and build the team around. Packers, you know, you have to believe in the Packers. Again, they also recruited heavily on defence this year, but you know, they've got Aaron Rodgers. You know, there's no way these guys are going to kind of give up their NFC North title. I still think they're going to win that this year. They're going to go 13-3, I believe. You know, still a fantastic team, and McCarthy, he's really got this team for the next 5-6 years are going to really kind of dominate the North. Chicago Bears really need to pull it out of the hat this year and make sure they try and pip them to that. They've got the first in the game of the season at Soldier Field. It's going to be huge. Can the Bears go 1-0? They don't want to lose to their local rivals in the opening day. The Lions lost Sue and they lost Bush earlier this year. They managed to replace Bush with Amir Abdullah, running back from Nebraska Cornhuskers. He is a promising player indeed, and it'll be good to see him in his NFL rookie year. But I think the Lions are going to go 9-7 this year. I think they've lost too much. I don't think Matthew Stafford's going to lead them to a dominating win off the NFC North. I think they might even possibly clinch a wild card playoff. Vikings, sorry, Peterson's back. I don't know how he's going to do it. Quarterback situation is not exactly clear. I think they're going to finish 4-12. That's it for Stewie's News this week. See you next week.
The unsung heroes of sport. Discuss.
The Water Boys.
Yeah.
Cheerleaders?
Game day managers.
Oh, of course.
Game day managers.
Game day.
Oh.
Chain crew.
Good call, baby.
I'm talking about those guys in stripes, a bit like what Kate's wearing.
See what I did there?
Did you do that deliberately?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I know we were talking the other week about coaches and managers and people who make things happen behind the scenes, but you forget that somebody's actually got to run the game on a day, whether that's American football, hockey, roller derby. Somebody's got to be out there on the field, and the organisations that run this, they're pretty professional, aren't they? They're set up.
Such a pivotal role in each sport, such an important role to have within each game, and the fact that each game has got to have a referee and a group of officials there to get the game set up speaks for itself.
To make people abide by the rules.
The other interesting thing is referees are literally from anywhere. They could be fans that followed the game that wanted to get involved, ex-players that can no longer play anymore, people that naturally progressed from playing and just thought the next step for them would be to ref. So it's a nice role in sport in general.
What makes people want to be a referee, though?
Bring pain and misery, obviously.
It's the power. I have the power. No, it's to be honest with you, it's a good point really, because and taking American football for an example, in British American football, they struggle to find referees because it's normally, as Ben's pointed out, it's usually ex-players, people who've been involved in the sport one way or another, that decided to go down that route. It's very rare that you'll find somebody that'll turn up and go, I like American football, I'm going to be an official. Because it's just not, it's very unheard of.
You've got to be a stickler for the rules.
Exactly, understanding
presumably.
of the game is obviously the biggest part. I think that's why a lot of people do it, to get a better understanding of the game. Maybe even to follow it and then they go, hang on a minute, I like this.
Well, they're normally like traffic wardens and stuff like that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Really?
So you've got somebody doing the announcer, somebody doing ball boys. Yeah, I'll do this in chains, and then we'll go and have a look at the two teams, you and me.
Yeah. Umpire.
Get a check.
Get a check.
Caps.
Yeah.
Whistle.
Yeah.
Spare whistle.
Yeah.
Down marker. Lateral position marker. Something to write on. Something to write with.
Yeah.
Coin.
Yeah.
Spare coin. Yes. Bean bags.
Yeah.
Bags.
Yeah.
Laces. No.
Yeah.
And I'm going in a minute. Chain clip. Chain repair kit. That's everything. Okay. So remember, guys, Premiership game. Let's give them what we're here to do. Let's make sure that they have a good game. Let's make sure that if they want to play the game, we'll let them play the game. If they don't want to play the game, well, let's enforce what we need to enforce. And have a great game.
On a day like this, you know, you really wonder why you did it in the first place. Honestly, I was a bit of a failed soccer player in my youth, and I also did soccer refereeing when I moved over to Warrington after coming over this side of the country to do my job. And I happened to be in a football changing room, and I had a Green Bay Packer top on my team. And I just happened to mention to one of the referees there that I'd always wanted to be an American football referee, but just couldn't find out how to do it. The guy turned around and said to me, he says, funny enough, I'm the director of Northwest Training on referees, and 4 weeks later I was on the field. And that was in 1995, and I've been here 20 years now. It's 20th season already, wow.
So you're saying 4 weeks turnaround?
Yeah.
Roughly how long does it take to be a referee nowadays?
Well, what happens is there's the initial induction period. You have to look at there's about 10 modules that we have, and each new prospective official is assigned a mentor, and these mentors take you through the officials' rookie booklet, for want of a better word, and it can be done face to face. It can be done via Skype. And then each new prospective official takes a rules test. They pass the rules test, and then they're competent to go out on the field. Generally, anything from 2 to 4 weeks before they're out on the game. And you don't just let them loose straight away. It's basically they come out there with another experienced official for 1 or 2 games, who'll buddy them and will stand behind them and help them make the calls, help them see where they're supposed to be seeing, look at what they're supposed to be looking at. And they go through a period of about 10 games where they put into practice everything that they've been learning. We try and keep them in one position throughout that 10 games, and once they pass that 10 games, they're then qualified, and then they can move on and start doing games pretty much by themselves. And the latest guy who's gone through that with me started his 11th game last week at Halton, and now he's by himself and he can do as he wishes.
So there's a lot of work and preparation goes into it for each individual that wants to do it.
Yeah.
How did they go about getting in touch and joining the Referees Association?
Well, years ago when I did it, of course, it was by word of mouth. Nowadays, we have a Twitter account, we have a Facebook account, there's www.bafra.org, any of those, and there are signposts as to how you can go and where you can join us. There's various join us buttons, or go and speak to a referee at the game, and they'll put you in touch with the relevant people. You know, you can be on the field with us in 4 to 6 weeks.
I think one of the hard things for referees in what's considered an amateur sport or a sort of semi-pro sport is the amount of stick they're getting for either nothing or very little pay. Mm-hmm. You know, in comparison to Premiership football or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's that argument point, isn't it? It's, you know, when you know you've done wrong or you are in the wrong, you always want to argue your point, because it's that get out of jail free card, if you like. If you can get away with it, you get away with it. And people always, when there's rules set, people always want to go right to the edge of those rules, or past in some cases. And if you didn't have referees, who's going to control that?
I'm going to have to stop you there, because we've reached full time.
Oh, I didn't hear the whistle.
Well,
come on, please,
it was
where?
a silent whistle. You know, we have these rules for a reason, Gary.
Oh, no.
And that's our show this week. We'll see you next week.